When I was younger, I started watching, it was on ESPN2. It was the Body Shaping with Corey Averson and Monica Brandt. And at the time I was a little chubby. I was in high school, and I didn't want to do the typical aerobics, the Jane Fonda, and because I saw her and I was just like, oh, okay, jumping around's not my thing. But when I saw Corey Averson and Monica Brandt and Denise Paglia, I mean, those women were just so like amazing to me because their bodies were just so toned, they were beautiful, they were feminine, and so that's kind of what got me started in that in the bodybuilding world.
Hmm. I remember those shows back then, back when ESPN used to show like guys like training with Galad, also a couple other, you showed the fitness and workout shows back in the day. I didn't watch him for the fitness workout, I watched him for the girls. That was it. Yeah, I was when I was younger too. Yeah, I used to work out. I was lifting weights because I played football, and that was the thing, But then you get into the real world, where you don't have the time.
Yeah, you get busy. Yeah, so that's how I started too. It was like I'd come home from school, and then I'd get the recorder because it was like on ESPN2, and it would be so early in the morning, around 4 o'clock in California. So I'd record it. By the time I got home after school, I would work out. I'd play the VHS tape, and then I'd take soup cans because I didn't have weights, and I was just following what they were doing, and then it was like that's how it started for me.
Yeah. VHS. We have, I think I hadn't had one in a long time. I used to have a CD player, not CD, it's a DVD player, but most of the time you can find more stuff on YouTube and on the computer. Those things are getting obsolete. You know that?
I know. The VHS, the smaller one. I think it was called Betamax or something. I mean,
Yeah, laser discs. That was the
the
biggest
laser
one.
discs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. See, I know you young folks out there, y'all don't get it because y'all came up in the area. You mostly grew up with technology. Us, we didn't. We didn't have that luxury.
Yeah.
So, what was that experience like? And what was the vision that got you started, into bodybuilding? When was that?
Oh, I want to say after. Okay, so I have to say my first competition was in 2012, and I did bikini. But prior to that, I actually was working at a gym, and um I saw one of my coworkers at the time. I was teaching classes, a spin class, and there was a trainer there, and I saw her, and I was like, "Wow, you look really fit." And she was like, "Oh, I just did a show," and I was like, "Oh, wow, I can never do a show." And then it kind of, years later, I was like, "Why not do a show? Why not?" It was like on my bucket list. And then I did my first show in 2012, and that was bikini, and I was really tiny. I was really tiny. And then, so I did that show, and I was like, wow, I placed, top five, top four. And then I was like, wow, this is amazing. Okay, I want to do another show. And then that's kind of how it started for me.
Yeah, I know quite a few ladies. They got into it either because you know somebody they met, or somebody might approach them and say, "Hey, I interviewed a lady just a couple of days ago, and she was approached by somebody about she was training. She just like to train, build a body and say, hey, you competing or you getting ready for a show? I said, what's that? It says it's bodybuilding. I said, what's bodybuilding? Because a lot of people don't know about it
No.
because it's not as well. No, I used to remember you show bodybuilding shows on ESPN. Like you show the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic, the Olympia. Used to come on regular network television, but the last few years you don't see it much anymore unless you watch the pay-per-views or catch it on like a platform like YouTube or something like that.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, back then, I didn't really see a lot of women in shows. I would see at the time it was Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, and that's who you would see on stage. I didn't see a lot of the women, nor were they really that popular. You know, there was, of course, women's bodybuilding, and then at the time there was fitness. So there was no figure, no bikini. I think it was just fitness. And I was like, oh, I can't tumble. I can't do all that, you know? Um, but yeah, when I talked to this girl, she was like, "Oh, I just did I think at the time she did bikini." And she's like, "Yeah, I just stand there, I do a couple moves, and then I get off stage." I was like, "Oh, wow, very impressive." And then, I didn't think anything of it until years later. And I was like, hey, why not? Why not try it?
Yeah, because I think bikini came in about in the early 2000s because what it was at one time it was just women's bodybuilding. It was the first of the women's divisions. Then fitness came along. Figure spawned from fitness because a lot of women didn't want to jump around chicken sweat, so they just cut that art out. And
Yeah.
then they brought in bikini, and the other divisions came on a little later. And you see how they evolve over years. Here we got my man KL, the one he also does content on ladies in bodybuilding. Says, hello, brother. How you doing?
Mhm.
Also, he has a question. He says, Joann, where are you from?
I'm located in California.
She's in California. California, the place you want to be. So you're a little bit looking and move to Beverly Hills. That is. I used to love to watch that show as a kid.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah, Jeffro Bodine, yeah, but yeah, I think this is a sport where everybody finds something about it. And like, so you were doing bikini. What made you change divisions after a while?
Well, one, it was a type of training. So I love challenging myself during training. So over time, because I took a little break from bikini to figure, just because, life happens. And I was like, do I really want to do this right now? Because the diet part was really hard. And so then I was like, let me just train. And the type of training I would just go in and I would just PR, I would lift really heavy. And I enjoyed that. And so one day I was like, wait, I put on a little bit more mass. I can't do bikini. Let's try figure. Um, and I tried figure and I did very well. I won my class. And then from then on, I trained a little bit more. And then my coach at the time, she was like, I think you do good in women's physique. And I was like, no way. I don't want to do a routine. I'm too scared to go up there. At least with figure and bikini, you're in heels, you prance around, you're like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And then you're off the stage and but with women's physique, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do a whole routine. I can't flow like that. I mean, I can dance, but to flow and to showcase muscles was a challenge for me. But my coach at the time, she was like, just try it. You might like it.
Yeah, I think I talked to quite a few ladies who started out in a particular division, either bikini, figure. Some got tired of the high heels. That was the thing. That's why they switched.
Yeah.
They like to, like, I just interviewed a young lady. Her name is Morgan. She just got a pro card just this summer at USA's. And she loved getting bigger and getting muscle. She got into figure, but then she wanted to do more. And that's the thing about this. It's a process as you grow and develop. And who was your coach at that time? Anybody we
At the
know?
time, it was Jamie Pinder.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I
She
have
was
a little
one of
bit.
the originals.
Yeah, I
With
have started. I interviewed Jamie a while back.
Yeah.
Because she used to have a old YouTube channel, and she made some comments, and I reached out, and then she's kind of. We hadn't heard much of her lately. I mean, she's kind of been quiet lately.
Yeah, she stopped coaching. I mean, I won my pro card under Jamie, which I am so appreciative and so blessed to have her at that time. And then thereafter, she kind of stopped coaching. So that's where I was lost. I was like, who am I going to go to? And I didn't understand how this whole coaching process was. And at the time, I was like, I've been with Jamie for at that time about 4 or 5 years, I think. And then after my pro card, it was just like, okay, I'm lost. And so I went through a couple other coaches, but I realized, like, do I want a male coach or do I want a female? I felt more comfortable with female coach. And Maria actually helped me with posing during the 2023 when I won my pro card or earned my pro card. So she helped me. And then I reached out to Maria and then she was like, I can take you, Joann. I can coach you. Because at the time she had finished Masters Olympia. And so she was like, I can take you. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, yes, let's do it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I think one thing with some competitors, a coach understands the process of how you develop, and I think some women they feel more comfortable with a woman because you understand being a woman, understand the that Men and women, our biologies are different. Even though we share some things like organs, blood, like that, but biologically there's some differences. I put it like this: men and women, we're the same species, but we're different breeds. If you
Yeah.
look at that, yeah. We have here a comment from my man. He want to correct himself. He said, like, you say your family. I meant, are you Chinese? Yeah.
Oh no, I'm actually Filipino.
Yeah. See, really, you said where she's from. You didn't say what's her background. That's the thing. You gotta when you do that, you ask a lady like this is like a first date. Say, hey baby, where you from? Who you people? You gotta talk to a lady. You gotta be a little smoother. He's a good cat, but you just need to work on his delivery. Shout out here also, my man. He says this. It says, I think the divisions would be more interesting if they did do a dance routine. Yeah, but like I said again, it's hard to dance in high heels. I worked in a strip club, and that's difficult.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I did that. I had a couple of jobs when I was a much younger man. I worked at a gas station. I worked here, there, textiles, some stock places here, there. And one of my jobs, I really kind of enjoyed it. It was working in a strip club. I used to work, but here the thing is, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, sweetheart. There's good days and bad days. Sometimes you have to take guys out, and sometimes you have to break up fights between even the strippers too.
Oh
And
wow.
he's a hater. He says, George, please, hey, whatever, be a hater. Hate him more. so so after you met Maria, then you turned pro. Why? Like some competitors take a good while before they make their pro debut. What was the reason for you for making like at least about 2 years since you get your pro card?
Well, I wanted my body to recover. And then I also knew that at a pro level, I needed to be competitive. So I needed to, grow a little bit more. Um, yeah, these pro women, wow, they are amazing. When I was backstage, I was just like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Do I belong? Somebody made a mistake, So, but eventually I was like, yeah, okay, I belong. But they are so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a couple of shows. I remember my first show I went to was Savannah. That was back in 2022, and I met some amazing ladies. Then my last show was when I went to Tampa, and I met some of these ladies. A couple of ladies I've done interviews with, ladies I follow social media. I remember I ran into Rachel Daniels,
Oh
and
my goodness.
wow, and I first saw Hunter Henderson. I even did an interview with her friend Brianna Terry because y'all were both at that same show together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Saw
yeah,
her there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was kind of starstruck. I was like, should I go up to her and say hi? But because I see her on Instagram and I was like, I'm too starstruck right now.
Yeah, and also April Cosmato, she was there too because
Oh yeah.
that was her pro debut that year. And I talked to her mom and said, yeah, you should make a shirt for your daughter, top 10 after 10 years because that was her pro debut that year.
Yeah, April, I talked to April, and she was actually the first person I met in line. And oh my God, that girl is so cool. Like, she is so cool to be around. Like, our vibe was like, we just got along. So,
That's good because you want that, especially even though y'all are competitors, you still want the good camaraderie because y'all both women in the sport. Sometimes not everybody's gonna be buddy buddy, but if you respect for one another, that's good. So folks, while we have Joann here, what we'll do is we're gonna jump into her social media for a little bit. If you want to follow her, links description of this live. But guys, it's a lovely lady. This is I'm saying like this is she's sure a party woman. So guys, be respectful. No weird stuff. Come on. I know you guys. You see women like this, you get excited. You act like a little kid with a new toy when you see a beautiful female bodybuilder. But be respectful and calm yourself. All right. We're gonna jump into your social media a little bit. If you want to follow, the links are in the description of this live. So here he is. And as I said again, she recently did an interview with my man David. And how did you? Because I know he was at the Atlantic Coast show. Did he reach out to you when you were there?
I was there, but everything was happening so fast. I didn't get a chance to meet him.
Yeah, I know he was talked to a lot of people here and there. I think he was also trying to catch up with April there too because he interviewed April a while back. And just one of your clients. This is one of your clients. She just competed this weekend.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Audrey and her mom, Anne. Um, Audrey, she reached out to me about August and she wanted to do a show. And I was like, okay, why not? She was 17 at the time. And I was like, okay, as long as your mom, and her mom is a competitor as well. So her mom, knows the ins and out of the competition. But she won her class this weekend in fit model.
Oh,
18 years old, to have that type of drive and dedication at 17 to 18 is just amazing. I wish I did that when I was her.
well, congratulations to her. But here's one thing: I'm not a fan of fit model.
Oh,
Excuse me. I'm just not a fan of it. I interviewed a couple of ladies that fit model. One lady just turned a pro card just a couple of weeks ago. Here she's talking with Tyler Mannion, one of the judges
yeah.
at that show. I mean, not a big fan of his either.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna hold no punches. And also here's this, which was wow, this is a nice video you put together. I mean, you have a very impressive physique, madam. I mean, what was your feeling at that show? Because you didn't do open, you did what was the I think 45 or 40 plus?
I did 40 plus and 50. Um,
50.
yeah, I wanted to do open, and Maria actually wanted me to do open. But at the time we didn't make it, so we'll do open it the next time around. But for my first show I was like, well, I was kind of nervous to do open because those women, I mean, you're going against younger women as well, so I didn't know what to expect.
And did you say 50 plus? I want to make sure I'm correct, folks. I'm looking at this woman right now. And I thought she was 22, 23, maybe
Well,
25 or 16.
thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. I mean, yeah, I know a lady I interviewed back, Miss Robert May. She's 59. She got a first Olympic qualification. That was in Toronto. I will say like this: she held her own against women who were 20 to 30 years younger than her. And that's the thing is, it's about bringing in your best look, your best physique. From what I'm seeing, like I said, I'm just a fan of you ladies because I hate my. No, I don't hate it. I have a crime. I want to tell you. I want to share with you, Joann. I always get, I'm a muscle pear smell. I think y'all muscle ladies are so beautiful and amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And here she is with her coach and trainer, Maria. And Maria, she's a great person. I'm hoping she might see her come back and compete sometime soon.
Oh, I'd love to see her compete soon. I even told her, I was like, we should do a show together. I don't know if she can coach me and then, her being in a show as well. But I think I would love to do a show with her. Of course, oh gosh, she looks incredible. I mean, that's her off season. Like people were walking around saying, are you going to compete today? Are you going to, and she was just there to support me. She was there backstage with me. But for her to look good all year round, I mean, she's just amazing.
Yeah, she's an amazing lady. I mean, she's been on my channel a couple of times before we do some live stream panels. She's been on here. Sometimes she did a little posing clinic. I think, she has a great personality about her.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know she's doing other stuff outside of the sport, like she's running her businesses and also she's getting into movies and entertainment. I mean, she's a smart lady. Here she is working out. Look at those arms. Look at those shoulders. Look at those guns, son. Yeah. When you're training, what is your favorite training session? And which is the one you just shit? I don't want to do this today.
So for me, my training, I love training back. Oddly enough, because you can't see your back, right? But to me, like back training, I love back training. My least favorite, of course, is arms.
Yeah. Well, I think with that one, back is kind of popular. I've heard arms, chest. The most common one is legs. That is the most common because it's like I remember if you remember the Chappelle show with Charlie Murphy and Rick James, where they go back to Eddie's house and Charlie, Eddie, and I was like, Rick is like mess up. It's an F your couch, Eddie Murphy, and Charlie and Eddie bit his legs. That's leg day for a bodybuilder, getting your legs beat. But like I said,
I think I've seen that skit.
yeah, it's a funny sketch. That's one of the classics. And here she is, posing. Does Maria also do your posing?
Yeah, she is, oh man, she really is on me on posing. She she's good. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good job. I mean, you look really good. She's doing great work with you. And like again, like I said again, I can't talk enough about Maria. I think she's an amazing person. Maybe one day, circumstances are willing, I might get to meet her. You know, but what was your feeling, or what did you get to a feedback from the show of how you place, or because I know I saw you talking with Tyler in the earlier part of the video.
Yeah. Well, I asked him if, WPD is where I should be, and he said, yes, most definitely. I have the shape for it. The only thing was the conditioning. So um, that was to come in, more conditioned next time. And I was thinking, well, I've never flown before. And, I flew in Thursday night and the show was Sunday. So now we know, like, okay, if the show's outside of California, which they all are, I'm gonna have to give myself plenty of time to come in. So that was the first. I don't fly out of California. I think the only time I flew out of California was once, and that was Hawaii, like 13, 14 years ago. But other than that, yeah, I don't go anywhere. So Florida was the longest trip for me. That was like oh gosh, I think it was an 8-hour flight for me. So
Yeah. Well, I can tell you the truth. I've never been on a plane in my life. I'm thinking about like when I went to Tampa, I took a train, and because I go to the next town over in South Carolina. There's an
mhm.
Amtrak station. I go. That's where I caught the train at. So I went to the train station, same train station where I went to when I went to Savannah. Here's a true story about my street. My first trip to Savannah, I missed my train back to South Carolina,
Oh
but
no.
but my niece, my oldest niece, she lived in Atlanta, so she drives about 3 hours, come pick me up, take her, or go back home.
Yeah.
And I was at the station for 6 hours for the next train to go to Tampa. Then back to the same station with another 5 6 hours to go back. I'm thinking about getting myself a real ID so I can go on a plane because it'll take as long. But if you like I said, there not as many shows for women's physique in California, but Arizona is a little closer. There's the Triple O, not Triple O. I'm sorry, not Triple O. The Rising Phoenix, the Arizona Pro. They have women's bodybuilding. Plus, they do Open and 40 plus. And also, if you think about it, there's also I don't know if you're going to have it next year. Is the Van Isle show? That's in Vancouver, and I think that's where Maria stays at. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're closer to the west. You're closer to that show. There's some opportunities. I know it's out of your way to go all the way to Florida, but this is shows you just like I don't know if it's just the list for the season. So
Yeah, I
it's
did.
not it's not fully out yet. I think still some shows haven't been put in, but just check and see, and you and Marie can talk about what you want to do. Here, this is from my man. Shout out to my man. KL says, how many shows you have done all together, and did you had a show you really enjoyed competing in your bodybuilding duration?
Um, let's see. Since I started competing in 2012, 2, 3, I want to say I did about maybe 6 shows altogether. Um, but not all back to back, of course. My favorite show, of course, was the Atlantic Coast Pro, just because that was my pro debut. And then, of course, before that would have been Masters USA because that's where I won my pro card.
Yeah, I mean that's. I just saw some ladies a couple ladies I interviewed just got their pro cards at that show. Shout out to Christine Sutton. Shout out to Nikki Treadwell. And I know lady also competed there. I've interviewed some couple ladies who did that show because Masters is really growing. In 2027 is going to be the Masters Olympia, and there's also some more shows like just recently. I don't know if this is something that might interest you also that Tim Gardner is going to do a show. He had the Puerto Rico Pro back in the day, but now it's going to be also a master show. It's going to be, I think he's on the list also. Maybe it's a show you might want to check out. What was that feeling like, at Masters USA's when they told you you're now an IFBB Pro?
I was in shock. I was in shock to the point where I also competed in figure. So women's physique goes on first and then figure after. So when I won my pro card in women's physique, I was like, I don't want to go back on stage for figure. I got my pro card already. I was like so happy. I mean, I was just, it's just, no words can explain how I felt. It was just, I was just so happy, ecstatic. It was just amazing, shock, relief. I mean, every emotion was going through my head.
Because it's experience, the time you put into it, and your evolution as an athlete. That time when you finally say, you know what, when somebody say, hey, you're IFBB pro. I've known ladies who won multiple cards. I remember one lady I interviewed a while back. She won 3 pro cards, 2 of them in figure, 1 in physique. And and that's the thing is when you put in that time in your work and you get the reward out of it. Now you are IFBB pro after all these years. But the thing with this is that what can you do with it? I mean, it's nice, but
Well, I mean, I was the okay, so I instantly changed my IG handle. That was the one thing I did. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna change my IG handle. So I did that, and then after that, I was just like, what do you do with the pro card? Of course you can compete, but I knew that wasn't going to happen instantly because I wanted to be, you know, I wanted to be best up there. Not best, but I wanted to look
the
as good.
best you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted a little bit more muscle mass. I knew that I needed to have that to be, at least competitive. But I was just like, okay, well, now I'm a pro. You know, I, it was like walking around, and I was just like, okay, I'm a pro. I'm very proud to carry that name because of all the hard work that I've done, you know.
Mhm. I think with a lot of competitors, it's like, especially if you're in the fitness world, it's like being licensed and bonded. It's like being certified that you're one of the, it's back in the day, it was so few opportunities,
Yeah.
but now, nationals just had Masters USA's, Olympia amateurs. I think there was a couple of shows overseas. Another lady I interviewed a while back, she got a pro card, but she had to put an application for it because one of the competitors. It's bodybuilding, even though it's very small niche sport, is kind of grown in over years. We have here, shout out to the man KL. He says this says she almost looks like another competitor. Her last name is Nguyen. Oh, we talk about Jamie Nguyen. Jamie is Vietnamese. She is wellness and a natural competitor. Also, he says this. He's a fan. He's always like that. He says, "You look like a superhero doing those poses." Shira, I mean Joann. And, and also, he says this. He says, if you're a fan of fit model, don't talk to them. You looking foolish. No, I don't. It's not about I don't have an issue with the competitor. I just got an issue with the division. I can separate the person from the division if you don't get that. Also, he says this. He says, what's strange is you always have your pay for your pro card. That's the thing is, this is a business. IFB is a business because that's the thing about this. That's one of the expenses of being a bodybuilder.
Yeah. Nobody really tells you how much you're going to spend, you know, traveling, the food, the suits, the make, especially when you're a woman, the hair, the makeup, for the USA's. I got really lucky. The 3 weeks before that, I did a regional show, won the overall, qualified, and then I had tickets. I guess it was credit. And I was like, well, why don't I just fly to Anaheim? So from where I live in the San Francisco Bay Area to Anaheim, it was only like an hour flight. So I was like, why not just do it? Let's just go. And I did it. And then I wasn't really prepared. I mean, I actually did my own hair and makeup for that show. It was funny because Maria was like, who did your hair and makeup? I was like, me. She was like, oh no. Oh no, no, no. But yeah, I did everything, from hair to makeup. And of course, Jamie was like on the phone with me, FaceTiming, calling, checking up on me. But everything just happened all at once.
Yeah, that's expense that you save doing your own hair and makeup. Because with y'all women, I say it's about the guys. The guys, when it comes to show day, all they need is a pair of banana hammocks and board shorts and tan.
You're
That's it.
right.
For y'all ladies, you have to have, like I said, you are a lovely lady. You have to have your hair done, your makeup, your jewelry, your toenails, your fingernails. You have to have a presentation. Your suits right there. That's your rent. That's a car note. That's a mortgage sometimes,
Yeah.
depending or the quality of the suit. And it's a presentation because you're out there. It's a bit of being a pageant in some ways, but still, it's still athletic because you have to train and work out and get ready. My man says this. He says, not Jamie. Okay, which Jamie talk about? Oh, he says, oh, she reminds me of Tran Nguyen. That's who I'm referring to. Okay, I remember her. She competed, I think, a good bit. I think a good part of the 2000s and the 90s, and after that, she retired. And what was, like I said, other than the coach and trainer, what does she do for a living? You have any, you career or job, like that?
Oh, okay. So I'm a nurse, and I usually work for the school district. This year I took some time off, and then other than being a trainer and a coach, I do have a 26-year-old son. Yes, yes. And he supports my bodybuilding. And yeah, shout out to Logan for, letting mom do her thing.
Logan. So, like, does he have like claws and he has a growl?
Right? That's who we actually named him after, was Wolverine.
Wolverine. Hugh Jackman, huh? I bet you
Yep.
like Hugh Jackman. He's a pretty
Yeah.
motherfucker. Yeah, but that's great. I mean, being a nurse and working in schools. I mean, uh, is it? High school, junior high, elementary? What schools?
I prefer elementary just because I'm a little bit taller than them. So if I work at the high schools, I kind of get lost in the translation.
And then if you're working in the school hospital, like same clinic, say like, hey, how you doing, Miss Ysip? I just came here. I just got a little fever. I just want you to take my temperature because hey, if you were our high school nurse, we be just because hey, you got to think about I know your boy would say, hey, that's my mom. Hey,
Yeah.
Logan, nothing here from that. But
Yep.
what got you into nursing?
Well, one, I enjoy helping people. So, that was one of my passions, was helping people, and just it's like a selfless job, because then you help people who are injured, who are sick, they're not feeling well. And it takes a certain type of person with a certain type of personality to see these people, you know, and and help them, and understand what they're going through, like the